Welcome back, Masters of Leather. Woo! We got our next video. This is a basic tutorial on how to do your hand stitching. Let's cover the tools briefly. I'm going to use a set of wing dividers to score my line, although you can use a stitch groover as well. For heavier leathers, I recommend a stitch groover. We have the awls. One has a round tip, one has a diamond point. Round tip is better for fine leathers or thin layers. Diamond point's much better for heavier layers, say as saddle horn or candle binding. These are Tandy's. Douglas makes some better ones. I recommend you check them out, douglastools.com. Also, we have the overstitch wheel. This marks our spacing for stitches. This one happens to be 9 stitches per inch. You can use prickling iron as well. Alright, now down to the action. Always a little piece of scrap leather put under our tools for punching holes. As you can see here, Masters, I have laid out the line. I've marked it with my stitch wheel, and I've started to punch some of the holes. We're going to show you how that's done. Starting with the round point, going to put the point right in the overstitch wheel mark. I'm going to push straight down, and I want the tip to just barely be coming through the leather. I don't need it to go all the way through. That makes the hole too big and it looks hideous when you're done. For the best stitches, minimize the size of the hole that you punch as most as possible. Continue punching down the line. Use a finger as a rest to help make sure that you get proper spacing. Now, some prefer to set this in a stitching horse with a clamp on each side. Punch straight through. It's a little easier to see where your needle is exiting. In this case, because it's one piece, I can lay it flat on the bench, and we'll cover the stitching horse in just a moment. Right, just continue punching all the way through. And the purpose of the scrap leather is just to help give your awl someplace to go without damaging it on hardwood or plastic. Some people do use a plastic cutting board, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so we're going to take a quick break, then we're going to come back with the thread, the needles, show you how it's done. Something like a watch band will use a much finer thread than, say, a saddle horn. This has heavy wax on it, so we need to burnish that in. Piece of canvas, cloth, denim, or paper bag. We want to surround the entire string, pull it through. This works the wax both into the fibers and also gets rid of the excess on top. This will help your thread work more smoothly through your work and help you draw down better, more consistent stitches. Okay, that's done. Let's move on. Threading the needles. You want to use decent hand stitching needles. You can get some of these at Tandy. You can also get them at upholstery stores that do upholstery supplies for hand stitching. You want to get about 3 or 4 inches through, pierce the middle of the thread, and work it back over the eye. Okay, let's get the other one. Also to have on hand with this is a pair of needle nose pliers, and also the same awl that you poked your holes with. And as you can see here, my work is already set up in my stitching pony. I have it clamped very close to the holes. If this was a piece of finished work, I'd have some protective pieces of leather between the jaws and my work itself to protect it. Alright, so we're needles on both ends, and we're going to start by passing one needle through the hole. Because they're tight and small, we might need the pliers to get us through the first time. Even up your thread. Move to the second hole. Again, pass one needle through from one side. Use the pliers if necessary. Okay, so pull that till it draws close. Now, with the backside needle, wrap the thread one time to create a knot. This completes the saddler stitch. That needle runs through the same hole. Alright, pull tight. You can see there a little extra wax. You know, even consistent pressure is key on this. Now there's faster ways to do this, more proficient, easier ways to wrap your thread, but I am demonstrating for you the basics and you get the idea. Try not to put down your needles for any reason. It will help you go faster. And make sure that you pull even from both sides. Continue down your stitch line until you have finished. When you have finished, some people will run over their stitches with the overstitch wheel they use to mark them. Some will pound them down a little bit with a cobbler's hammer, flatten them out. It helps improve the look of the stitch greatly. Now, if you don't wrap your thread and do a complete stitch every time, then what happens is we get 4 or 5 stitches that pull tight all together and loosen all together. The purpose of wrapping it is to hold a locked stitch each and every time, thus making it a stronger, more sturdy way of stitching your projects together. Alright, so as you can see, I'm not the most proficient. Practice will help you get more proficient. So as you can see here, we've got a nice set of 4 or 5 stitches. Now, to finish off our stitches, we would backtrack a couple and then take our snips or an X-Acto knife very close to our work, snip off our threads, and we are done. As you can see there, we have some very nice even stitches across the front, even stitches across the back, and that's how we do the basics of hand stitching.